Good morning. The time is now 9:30. I'll call the regular meeting, the October 13th, 2020 meeting of the Mill Creek Township Board of Supervisors to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board of Supervisor meetings are now being televised live online via Go Live via youtube.com, www.millcreektownship/meetings, and recorded by WQLN for viewing on Spectrum Channel 1024 and youtube.com with closed captioning. Members of the public may attend in person in the General Assembly Room. However, total occupancy is limited to 25 persons and masks are required. Persons who wish to offer testimony at any hearing or to offer comments during the public comment portion of the meeting, but who do not wish to attend in person, must contact the Township Secretary, Cheryl Williams, at 833-1111 or email swilliams@millcreektownship.com no later than 24 hours before the scheduled meeting to make arrangements to participate via telephone. Next up is public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Okay, hearing no public comment, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. The first set of minutes to approve is from an emergency meeting on September 19th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Dan.
I'll second.
Thank you, John. Mr. Owlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And next up, we have our minutes from our September 22nd, 2020 regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Mr. Owlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Approval of the bills. We have a couple payment batches here to pay. Do I hear a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Mr. Owlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, next up, bids and quotations. We have RFP results for rotary grinder bank loan. Mark?
Yes. We put out a request for proposal for bank financing for the rotary grinder for Millfair Recycling Center. We received 3 responses to the RFP. The first was from BCI Financial, City National Bank. They happen to be in Florida. Their rate was 1.58% on a basis of 365 over 365, and for the 5-year term and $380,000. We received a quote from Erie Bank at 1.84%. That was on a 365 over 360. What that means is that they go on a even 30-day month. It actually makes the interest rate just slightly higher, so their effective rate would be 6% on a 365 over 360-day basis. That would make their rate about 1.48. We also earlier reached out to the County Redevelopment Authority, and they, for the same loan, wanted 2.5%. It would be my recommendation to place the financing with First National Bank Corp at 1.46% for the 5 years, $380,000.
There's no penalty for an early
No,
satisfaction.
only if you refinance it with somebody else.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion to approve the financing with First National Bank Corp.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Owlette?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next up, change order number 2, Mill Creek Township Sidewalk Accessibility Project, Phase 8, Planning and Development Department. Matt?
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, this is the second change order for Amendola Construction and Maintenance Corporation for the sidewalk accessibility project for this year. We were using this change order to complete a couple areas of the township so that they were finished and we didn't have to return next year to finish ramps. Specifically, these are for 4 additional ramps, 2 at Alexandra Drive and Zimmerly Road and 2 at Luray Drive and Zimmerly Road. In addition to the extra charge for those ramps, there was also 25 feet of additional sidewalk in the contract that we had there as a contingency that was not used, so that was deducted from this change order. In total, this change order is an additional $5,385.50. This is being funded in part by monies left over from the Planning and Development additional ramp budget. There was $9,000 additional dollars in that budget above our CDBG allotment. In addition, we will have to take $1,055.50 from our 2020 contingency line item in the Planning and Development budget. With this should finish out the sidewalk contract. We will have spent the entirety of our $252,981 Community Development Block Grant allotment, and then we will have spent an additional $10,055.50 on additional ramps.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions or comments on this change order? Do I hear a motion to approve change order number 2 in the amount of $5,385.50 with Amendola Construction?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Owlette?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Okay, the next item on our agenda will be tabled for the salt barn roof replacement. It's going to be tabled to a future meeting.
I'll make the motion to table.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, Mr. Owlette?
Vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes, also to table that. Next, we have a block and mortar joint repair, garages 2 and 4. Excuse me. Gary?
Good morning, gentlemen. We are seeking permission to have Jesse L. Fisk Sr., LLC, CoStar's vendor number 524726, do cement block and mortar repair joints on garages 2 and 4 for the cost of $34,100. Many of the block and mortar joints have deteriorated in garage 2, and the mortar joints in garage 4 have separated due to the foundation settling. So there are monies in the capital budget to make the repairs under the facilities improvement line, and it would be my recommendation to have Mr. Fisk repair the block and mortar joints in garage 2 and 4 for the cost of $34,100.
Thank you, Gary. Any questions or comments on this repair?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
Gary, when you say there's money in the capital budget, you mean this was an actual line in the capital budget, or there's funds that you want to tap into to add the project to the capital budget?
There was monies under facilities improvement line in the capital budget, and that's what we would be using that money.
How much is in there right now?
I believe there was 50,000 scheduled for there.
Mr. Chairman, as I expressed
Aye.
last week, I'm
I understand.
increasingly disappointed and frustrated that detailed budget information isn't provided at meetings, so I won't be seconding this one.
Understood from your previous comment. I'll second it. Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote no.
And I vote yes. Next up, tree removal at Boulevard Park, Parks and Rec. Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Parks and Rec is seeking approval for the removal of 8 dead ash trees from the park at McKee and Feidler Road. Scope of service includes the grinding of the stumps and removal of that debris. 3 bids were received. The first from Leopold Tree Trimming for $2,200. The second from Dibble Tree Service for $2,400. And then J. Thomas Tree Service for $4,480. So the recommendation is to go with Leopold Tree Trimming for the quote of $2,200. And I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Okay. Does include the grinding of the tree stumps and removal of debris as well.
Well, that brings up, I guess I want to ask you guys, I reported earlier about Asbury Woods and the quality of work there. It looked like our own forces did that. Do we know if we hired someone to remove the trees in Asbury Woods, or if our own crew did that?
That I'm not sure of.
I don't know either. Unknown. This is within the Asbury Park, correct?
Yeah.
Something we could
It seemed like some shoddy work up there, guys.
Understood. Do I hear a second to the motion for this particular tree removal?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, next up, bids and quotes. Truck loader forklift attachment from Parks and Rec. Mr. Arlett?
Thank you. Parks and Rec Department is seeking approval for the purchase of a forklift attachment for their track loader. 3 bids were received. The first from Land Pro. The quote was $3,580.76. The next one is from AR Beatty Equipment for $3,049. And the third bid was from Cleveland Brothers Cat for the cost of $1,985. The recommendation will be go with the lowest bidder, was Cleveland Brothers Cat for $1,985. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second to that?
Mr. Duchesky, am I reading this right, that Ms. Marsteller is shifting operating funds?
Yeah,
into
she's shipping
capital?
operating funds to the capital budget for the 1985. She has the money. Her budget for the line item was $45,000. They've spent year-to-date through 9/30, $24,505. Means they got $622 remaining, and the 1985 certainly fits within that confine.
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, number 7 on our agenda is ordinance under review. Fire Commission. I don't have that in my packet. Okay, is that Mark?
Yes,
You can handle that?
yes. It's currently being reviewed an ordinance that would require Mill Creek Township Fire Departments to obtain permission from the Fire Commission before purchasing any apparatus, equipment, or structures in excess of $25,000. This is based upon a recommendation made by the Fire Commission to the supervisors. The recommendation was made as a result of purchases being made when members of the Fire Commission had previously agreed upon a purchasing moratorium on such apparatus and equipment. The draft is being reviewed by the Commission, and we would expect it to be on the agenda for the next supervisor meeting.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Resolution 2020 R59, a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015 R20 and the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain township records. Request from Chris Filson, Mill Creek Police Department, IT Department for video deletions, dash cam videos spanning the dates of October 14th, 2020 and October 27th of 2020 due to reaching the end of the required retention period. I'll make a motion to approve that resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Resolution 2020 R60, Fire Prevention Month. Mr. Arlett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 2020 R60 indicates October as Fire Prevention Month. Whereas Mill Creek Township's Office of Code Enforcement and Mill Creek Township's volunteer fire departments are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention, protection, and education. And whereas Mill Creek Township's residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2020 Fire Prevention Month theme, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen, is to recognize those who motivate a household to develop and practice a home fire escape plan. Therefore, we, the Mill Creek Township Supervisors, do hereby proclaim October 2020 as Fire Prevention Month throughout this community. We urge all people in Mill Creek Township to develop a home fire escape plan with all members of the household and practice it at least twice a year, to install smoke detectors on every floor of their home and to participate in public safety activities and efforts of Mill Creek Township's fire and emergency services during Fire Prevention Month 2020.
Thank you, sir. Do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 2020 R60?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Number 10 on our agenda, sale of parcel from county repository for unsold properties. Mr. Shaw? Or Mr. Z?
Yes, we received a request from the county to approve the sale of a repository from the repository of unsold properties. It's index number 33-117-470.0-025.00, also known as West Gore Road, 80 by 50 by 60. You have a picture of the property. It's a little triangle just off Gore Road. Apparently, somewhere along the line, that thing got subdivided off, and nobody paid the taxes on it, so it ended up in the repository. This is just to approve the sale of the property. My understanding is that it's not for giving taxes, it's just to approve the sale. And the form the county sent requires either approval or denial. apparently the person that's buying it is a neighboring property owner, and he's going to maintain it like the rest of his property.
Okay. Looks like the bid was $250.
Yes.
Any questions or comments from the board on this?
So this gentleman has agreed to pay the back taxes then?
This county is not asking us to exonerate taxes.
Mr. Shaw or Mr. Waldinger, something like this, is there any way, when we approve these kind of remnant parcels, to insist that they be replotted to be part of the larger neighboring parcel?
I don't know if we can require that, because it's an existing lot of record. But we could certainly make that request and ask them to, especially in this case where the gentleman's interested in adding it to his own property and maintaining it as such.
Yeah, I would note that the parcel is somewhat split. There's a part of it that's in the, that fronts the neighboring parcel, as well as a portion that fronts the parcel that's owned by the person purchasing it, so. But I would agree with Matt. I think you can ask, but I don't know that there's a mechanism in place to necessarily require it.
Couldn't hear you, Mark.
Okay, sorry. Let me, kind of hard with this. I said the parcel is split between a parcel that's not owned by this person, the frontage of that parcel. Part of it fronts a different property, and part of it fronts the property that's being purchased. So it's not completely contiguous.
Okay.
But I would say that, it's certainly worth mentioning or referencing to the county to, when they do these types of things, in our adjacent parcels, to make a condition that they add into the adjoining parcel.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like it'd be easy for a remnant parcel to fall back onto the repository list if it's not actually adjoined to a larger, more active parcel.
Yeah, the challenge maybe is I don't know that that's done at the county level as opposed to the local level. So that
Okay.
may be where the disconnect is.
Okay. All right, just curious. All right, well, yeah, I'd like a motion to, I guess, approve the action.
Okay.
I'll second.
Mr. Arlett?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, we have number 11 on our agenda, exclusion from land development request, 4646 West 12th Street, Country Fair. Mr. Walding.
Thank you. Yes, this is a request from Country Fair for a land development exclusion to do a couple of small additions to their store on West 12th Street, which is across the street from the Erie International Airport. They're looking to do two additions, an addition for seating out towards the parking lot that is 577.5 square feet, or I'm sorry, that is 470.6 square feet. And, oh no, I was correct. 577.5 to the building, and then 470.6 square foot addition to the cooler. So they're adding a total of an additional 1,048 square feet to the building. This does fall within the threshold of a land development exclusion. We do have a form filled out by the township engineer confirming that this falls within an exclusion and recommending that the board approve such. Everything that will be added will be over existing impervious. They will be doing, or they will be meeting our stormwater management ordinance, and they will be meeting the zoning ordinance. So at this time, I recommend that we approve this land development exclusion.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments on this? Do I hear a motion to approve this land development exclusion for Country Fair at 4646 West Call Street?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Oh, yes.
I vote yes.
Now we just did that. Mr. Waldron, that was for informative purposes, right? Do you actually need us to vote to approve that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you actually need us to vote on that, or is that more of just a informative?
That was on as a request by Mr. Puzz, so I believe we needed the vote.
I thought you had the administrative prerogative to approve that.
For anything under 1,000 square feet, I believe we do.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, communications. Treasurer Communications. Mark?
Okay, I've got two things. First is the extension of the PPE for the dental coverage. It was extended through September 30th. They now would like to extend it through the end of the year. Because this is an opt-in, it requires approval of the board in order to approve the extension. To a large extent, we're contractually bound because this would impact the employees when they went for basic services. The cleanings are supposed to be entirely covered by the dental insurance coverage, and this would be a $10 charge that they would be responsible for. So therefore, we're kind of required to opt in, but it still needs your approval.
Okay, is that something you're requesting we take action on right now?
Yes.
Okay,
So it's my recommendation that you approve it once again through the end of the year. As much as I disagree with the whole thing, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place on it.
So this is a motion for us to approve our insurance carrier to cover the additional PPE expenses of medical providers,
Yes, through the end of the year.
rather than pushing that cost on to our employees.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Can you take public comment? It's not
Okay.
specifically listed on the agenda, so.
Okay. We will now take public comment on this extension of the carrier to extend out the opt-in portion
Opt-in.
till the end of this year, 12/31 of 2020. If there's anyone that would like to make public comment on this? Okay, hearing none. I believe we had a motion and a second
Yes.
and a vote. Mr. Olet, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
How about yes?
And I vote yes. Okay,
Okay,
item 2,
and
Mark.
then the second thing is also an opt-in. It's a part of a cost containment program from our pharmacy benefit manager, RX Benefits. This benefit, or this program is the last leg of a three-legged program. And what it does is a lot of the drug companies like to repackage their products in other, groupings which don't have FDA approval. This will prevent that from, being paid for by our insurance, which we self-insure, so we're ultimately paying this. Currently, none of our employees have a pharmacy request like this. It's just making sure that non-FDA approved items don't get covered down the road. So it's going to be a prospective kind of preventive measure. And it would be my recommendation to go ahead and do that so that we've got the complete package of cost containment for the pharmacy benefit.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this? Also take public comment on this since it wasn't specifically listed. If anyone wishes to make public comment on this opt-in through RX Benefits. Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the opt-in cost containment portion, is that how you? of the-
Yeah, I don't know if it has a specific name, but it's a cost containment package from RX Benefits.
RX benefits, okay. And it's regarding non-FDA
Approved
related
items, yes.
medication. Best I can do.
Looking for a motion.
Yes.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Alette, your vote.
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I'll make it unanimous and vote yes. Okay, anything else, Mark?
That's it.
Okay, next up on our agenda, we have a hiring request from Diane Lyons from HR regarding a new hire in the streets maintenance department. Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Recommendation from Diane Lyons and Administration HR to hire Nicholas R. Langford as a streets maintenance laborer at the rate of $20.02 per hour. Little background on Nick. Nick has worked seasonally for Mill Creek Township in the sewer maintenance department for 3 years. He recently graduated from Edinburgh University, and he has a Class B CDO with tanker endorsement. And I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Okay, do I hear a second on that new hire?
I'll second.
Mr. Alette?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, and next up, we have a request to fill a vacancy in the administration department. Diane Lyons from HR is requesting approval to begin the process of filling a vacancy due to a retirement in January. I think that should read 2021
Yes.
for in the accounting and payroll department. She's seeking permission to fill that vacancy.
I'll make a motion to approve or authorize the hiring process to commence.
I'll second.
Mr. Alette, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And we have a training request from Chief Scott Height, Mill Creek Police Department. Approval is requested for 2 detectives to attend a crime scene and evidence photography class to be held from October 26th through October 30th at the State College Municipal Building in State College, PA. Registration is $595 per officer, totaling $1,190. Travel by department vehicle, $51.04. Lodging, $100 for 5 nights, $500. And then the government per diem, $350.75 per officer for the duration of the course, totaling $701.50. Total travel expenses, $1,252.54. This leaves a balance in the travel expense fund of $13,698.26.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Alette, your vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I could chime in for 1 second, while we're talking about training requests.
Yes, sir.
I was remiss, I had not formally put it on the agenda. The Pennsylvania Planning Association is having their conference this month. It is going to be all virtual, which reduces the conference fee significantly. It's a $100 registration. I'd like to request the board's permission to utilize $100 of our travel and training budget from the administration department, which I believe is around $4,000.
Yeah, we've used almost nothing because earlier this year would have been incurred, they're all canceled, so there's definitely money in the budget for it.
So apologize for not putting it on the agenda sooner. The deadline for registration is this week, so.
When is the virtual, is it a whole week-long event? Or
No, it is next Monday and Tuesday, the 21st and 22nd, I believe.
Oh, okay,
20th and 21st, that might be.
okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the request for the planning conference and $100?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second. Mr. Alette, your vote?
How about yes?
Mr. Morgan, your vote?
Any comments? I guess we have to ask for first, right?
Oh, since it wasn't on the agenda. Can seek public comment on this request, if there's anyone. Nope, all quiet. Okay,
All right, I'll vote yes.
and I'll make it unanimous.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next up, the highly anticipated announcement of trick-or-treat hours in Mill Creek Township. Trick-or-treat hours will be held on Saturday, October 31st, 2020, between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. in the entire township. We're very proud of the fact we're having trick-or-treat this year. We've received numerous calls regarding this, numerous.
Only from the media, though, I believe.
So many I've lost track of the calls we've had. So,
Have any residents actually called?
buy
or are
your
we just
candy
talking about-
early and,
Yeah.
what's that?
Any residents actually call, or just the media trying to gin up a story? Is that okay?
Oh, there's been residents as
Oh,
well.
yes.
So,
Can we
Go-
just clarify that at no point did the board even consider not permitting trick-or-treating? I don't know how it became a story in the public that we were somehow debating it. It's on the township calendar for 6 to 8, I believe, our magazines advertise it. I don't, it's interesting how,
and I'm also suspecting that masks will likely be worn during trick-or-treating. Just a hunch.
on a serious note.
Yes.
I believe the county health department and the CDC have made recommendations for how to safely or more safely enjoy festivities on Halloween. I would suggest folks take those under consideration
Sure.
and be careful out there.
Yes. Yes, have a safe, fun night. Okay. Executive sessions were held on October 1st and 8th of this year here at the Township Building. Attorney Shaw, anything further?
Nothing further on my end.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could have a moment.
Yes, sir.
We lost an exceptional public servant in Mill Creek last week. Mr. John Pulis passed away at the age of 87. Mr. Pulis had a lifetime of public service. He was served in the U.S. Navy during the Korean War. He was the regional director of the Pennsylvania Lottery in Northwest PA. He served our Mill Creek Township School Board for several decades, or two decades, and most recently was a member of our Mill Creek Township Planning Commission. I had the good fortune of serving with Mr. Pulis on that commission for several years, and I can say not only was he dedicated, he was a good man. Always brought a positive attitude to that board, was always looking to look for compromise and common sense solutions to help our residents. I learned a lot from him, and he will be dearly missed, and just want to extend our sympathies to and condolences to his family. It's going to be hard to fill his shoes on that commission. And I also want to say, he was a tireless advocate for his community. Even last month, you gentlemen may recall, he was here advocating for his neighborhood just last month. So he always put his community first, and he will be missed.
Thank you. Yes, I believe Mr. Police also served on the Mill Creek School Board back in the day. So, yes, as you said, just a tireless public servant, and want to extend our condolences to the family. Okay. Citizens to be heard. Any citizens in the audience wishing to speak today? Okay, hearing none. Make a motion. Do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and we are adjourned at 10:10 a.m. Thank you.